modern women believe that they should be able to get whatever they want in exchange for whatever pleasure-giving ability they're willing to share with a man. And on principle, that sounds about correct, because in the traditional layout of relationship, marriage, then a woman would give that to a man, and the man would provide for his wife, and she would provide children for him. But the modern woman doesn't want the children. She doesn't want the responsibility of being a man's wife. She just wants to be able to give him the intimacy and then reap the benefits of being a wife, being taken care of. Basically, what she wants is a financial exchange. And because she doesn't come out and say that to men, she has a problem that men don't automatically understand and receive that that's how she feels about the scenario. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't say what arrangement you want, and you try to act like that's not the arrangement you want, then how can you expect a man to honor that arrangement? And besides, if you know you want to be paid for your intimacy or the pleasure you give, then you should put that on the table and probably get paid first, at least get a deposit. That's what everyone else does in a financial transaction. So the modern woman believes that she's supposed to be able to be granted whatever wish she wants just because she's intimate with you. Now, granted, unless she puts this financial situation on the table in the beginning, then she wants to be with the man she's being intimate with. It's not like she's being intimate with the man that she doesn't want. She's being intimate with the man that she wants to be intimate with. And then she still has a problem that man doesn't say, well, okay, I guess I better give you something. Why would any man pay for something that he's already getting unless you have established that you are his woman? The modern woman wants to have multiple men that she can ask for something. I want y'all to listen to this video that somebody sent me on IG with this chick talking, man. She's not the worst looking chick in the world, but she's absolutely hood, you can tell. And she thinks she's more attractive than she is by the way she's talking. She's talking like she's really the prize. But you listen to her talk, and everything she references is about multiple men. It's about having multiple men. It's about having access to multiple men. It's about having multiple men in your phone. It's about having multiple men that you have sex with. And she really believes that she's supposed to carry herself in the lifestyle and mannerisms of a harlot and still have a man who is willing to say, I'm going to take care of her. If you got multiple men, then we all feel the same. Like, hey, let somebody else take care of you. Like, well, what those other dudes at? How much you got from those other dudes? Because you have to understand, the same way, and granted, I do believe that if you are a woman and that's the arrangement you want, the same way I say that a man should be willing, that you should understand that you should, keep your loving to yourself until you feel like you have a man who you want to have that type of relationship with. The same thing with dudes. If you're paying a woman for her intimacy, you can never believe that she's going to want you in a traditional, authentic interaction kind of way. Once you establish a financial situation or a transactional understanding, it's never going to become something, authentic. It's never going to revert to being something that's true and honest. And this is what this woman doesn't understand. She thinks that she can change the rules of engagement and be a harlot, but demand the type of treatment that a wife or at least a woman in a committed relationship will get. But that's not true. Let's take a deep dive on this one. But first, let's elevate to a higher plane. Prepare for takeoff.
Good niggas out here no more. They can't just do for you because, oh, it's your birthday today. They can't just do for you because it's just in them to be generous, right? But when it comes to women, we'll give you our mind, body, and soul. For what in return? Nothing, right? Everything that's going on nowadays, it gotta be something in return. Nothing is genuine no more. So at the end of the day, if you're not paying rent, if you're not paying car insurance, you can eat it, but you can't get in it.
Now, what you heard in this video, man, is a woman who is delusional. I mean, absolutely as delusional as they come. She truly believes that she is in a situation where she has multiple men. And she, obviously, a woman who has multiple men is not giving any of those men anything other than sexual time. And granted, if that's the game you're playing, you have to understand that men are trying to get what they can get for with the least amount of action and effort, the same way you are. When you have multiple men, you are not giving any of those men the type of attention that a woman who is demanding to be compensated, unless you want a transactional relationship. You are not putting yourself in a position with any of those men to be able to call a man on the drop of a dime and say, well, you know, can you give me this or can you give me that? No, when you are that type of woman, then every time you ask a man for something, you should be willing to accept that man is going to want something from you in return. It's the type of relationship you've built. The problem is the majority of you young women, y'all put more value on sex than men do. Men put value on getting sex, but the actual value of sex, after we get it, there is no value. If you want to get the value out of what you're giving, you better get it before you give it. Once you give it, it has no value. That's why you have to give a man other things. If you want a man to think that you're his responsibility or providing for you is his responsibility, what you have to do is give him more than just sex. Because if all you're going to give is sex, the value of sex is cut by 50%. Even with the most beta of men, it is cut by 50% once you give it. That's why body count matters so much. And y'all women don't seem to understand that. Y'all don't seem to want to embrace the fact that once I get it, it has no value to me until I want it again. And then it has less value because it is better the first time than it'll ever be again. Unless you're giving all of these other things to enhance it. You have to be willing to give more than just intimacy if you want a man to view you as more than just someone to be intimate with. And I promise you, man, you would think that as elementary as that is, these women will understand it, but these young women are stuck on something else. These young women don't have any understanding about what it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be, how they're supposed to live, what they're supposed to think, and what they're supposed to expect, demand, and even predicate that men give them in exchange for their intimacy. Your intimacy is only worth something in the initial transaction. If you don't make the transaction initially, then you're not in a transactional relationship. And you can't suddenly make a relationship that's non-transactional into a transactional relationship. If you are paying a woman for her time and her pleasure-giving capacity, that woman will never be with you in any way that doesn't require her to be compensated, because that is the way you establish it. It's the old adage, the way you start is the way you end. And it doesn't apply anywhere more than relationships, old relationships, modern relationships, future relationships. It is all about understanding that the way you establish a relationship, that is the foundation of the relationship. You can't very well take the foundation away from the relationship once it's built. You have to tear the entire relationship down. So whatever the relationship is based on, then that's what it's going to be built on. And I think a lot of men and women have a problem with that. And as you hear in this video, she is very angry. And this is the thing. This is the type of thing that men do. This is the type of thing you guys do. And a lot of you guys try to come to my channel and get your fix on this type of hatred for all women. You hear her say, forget all you dudes. Forget all you dudes. She didn't say just the ones who did whatever they did to her. She said, forget all these dudes. You understand? And my point is this. While she's saying forget all these dudes, why forget all of us? Because the bottom line is, what's happened is she has been put in a position where she wanted a transactional relationship, but didn't have the intestinal fortitude to say, hey, I want a transactional relationship. And now that she wants the relationship to become transactional, the men are saying, but no, why would I just give you money? Why would I just give you money? Because you are treating your body worthless. If you treat your body like it's worth nothing, how are you going to charge me for it when I know for a fact you don't think it's worth anything? If you've shown me that you don't think your body's worth anything, why would you ever expect me to give you anything for it? Why would you expect me to compensate you for a body that you don't even think deserves compensation? You want me to compensate you for a body that you don't even think is important, that you don't even like, that you don't even think is worth it, that you don't even think is worth anything, that you just sit there and treat like it is absolutely worthless to you. And you want me to turn around and pay you after the fact that you've given it to me for free? We talking about she looks like the type of woman you can meet at a club, man, and take home with you the first night. You take her home with you the first night. Then after that, 3 days later, she calling you, man, telling me, can you pay her car note? Why would I pay your car note, shawty? You've given me a one-night stand. You've shown me no value. You've shown no value in yourself. So why would you give me that and expect me to give you that? It's the same way if you're a man and you're a trick. If you're a man out here, man, and all you do is pay women all the time, women have the right to view you as a paymaster. Women have the right to view you as a man that whenever you come through, you better be breaking bread. You know why? Because when you came through, you broke bread. So I understand where she's coming from, because she feels like she has value. But I tell you, young women all the time, you can feel like you have value, but your words and actions have to match. And if you are out here giving yourself away freely to men like some scallywag, then you have to understand that you're going to be treated like a scallywag, not because men are mean, not because men are foul, not because men are nasty, but because your actions are the actions of a scallywag. That's what's going on. So when you give yourself freely to men like this, hey, expect what you get. Expect to be treated like a scallywag, because that's exactly what you are. You're being a scallywag. You're presenting yourself to the world as a sex object. And when you present yourself to the world as an intimate object, as an objectified being, then you have to understand that when you objectify yourself, you can't then demand that a man doesn't objectify you. You know, when a man creates himself in the mind of a woman as a financial institution, then he is a financial institution. He is an institution where she withdraws money from. And she doesn't make deposits. He is a withdrawal account. And when you make yourself a withdrawal account to a woman, that's what you are. The same way as a woman, when you make yourself something that a man only calls on, only has to see when he needs to be pleased, and you're okay with that, then you can't turn around and back in and say, well, I please you a lot. What you gonna pay me? No, you have to establish that relationship in the beginning. And if you don't want a transactional relationship and you want an authentic relationship with a man, then you're gonna have to stop being a scallywag and run around with all these different men. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, a woman who run around with a whole bunch of different men does not deserve to be in a relationship with a man who is going to provide for her. You need to, if you're going to have all these different men, then you better start establishing some transactional relationship. Don't be a harlot and then try to live a good girl life. If you're going to be a harlot, make your money. Don't do it for nothing. Don't spread yourself thin out there for nothing. That's foolish. If you're going to wear your body out and treat yourself like you're worthless in your own mind, then at least get paid for it, at least get compensated for it, because the value you're giving away with your body and your overall being, your spiritual being and all of that, you'll never get that value back, so you might as well get compensated for it. Why lose your value and not make any money off of it? And then turn around and complain about you not making any money off of it. Well, you ain't making no money off of it because you ain't charging. If you want men to compensate you, and this doesn't apply to all women who are in relationships and feel like they're in mutually beneficial relationships, and they feel like a man should provide for them because they give the man intimacy and they give him the other things that he may want. I'm not talking about you women. I'm talking about women like this one who says strictly all she offers a man is intimacy, and she is upset that she does not get paid for that intimacy. And all I'm saying to you, if you're a woman like this, then you need to establish that from the beginning. Establish that you want a transactional relationship where you feel like you should be paid, even if you say, well, you ain't got to pay me before you leave because I don't want to feel like that type of transaction, but you should be paying me afterwards, after we're intimate. You should pay me like later on in the week, and you'll find out that men ain't gonna be with that. So you can't determine and dictate the parameters of a financial relationship. And that fact leads to this understanding. If it's gonna be a transactional relationship, then the transaction is gonna take place at the same time intimacy takes place. And you're gonna have to accept the fact that you are selling yourself. You can't sell yourself and then try to fix it in a way where you ain't selling yourself because you're getting the money later. No. Be a woman about yours. Establish your transactional relationship from jump. Let the man know that you want to be compensated for the pleasure you're providing. And he'll leave the money on the dresser. Now wrap your mind around that. If you're not ready to do that and live that life, then stop living your life like a harlot out here. You can't be a halfway harlot. If you're going to be a harlot all the way. If you can't be a harlot all the way, then don't be a harlot at all. Take some pride in yourself. Understand that your value lies in your ability to keep yourself from spreading yourself thin to all these different men. Don't no real man want no woman that's out here giving herself away to everybody. And ain't no man fit to compensate no woman who out here giving herself away freely, then come on the back end and tell me, well, can you give me something? No, I ain't give you nothing in the first place. If you want something, you better get it when the value exchange takes place, because after that, your value is gone. Unless you want to make the transactional relationship the second time. Every time we get together, a transactional relationship has to take place at that time. You can't get with me and then later on talking about, hey, you owe me. No, I don't owe you. It's a transactional relationship. It's kind of like going to a restaurant. You go in a restaurant, man, you eat, man. You don't say, hey, man, I'll pay y'all when I come back next week. No, you pay them right then. Before you leave that place, you pay. All transactional relationships go that way. You put something in your cart in Amazon, you can leave it in there for 2 weeks. They ain't going to ship it out to you till you pay. Transactional relationships go that way. And if you want a transactional relationship, you better make your mind up to establish the life of a harlot, because that is exactly the life you're living when you want transactional relationships. Be a woman about it. Don't get online and rant, rave, and be mad because men aren't just taking the initiative and creating a financial relationship with you, a transactional relationship with you. You create it from the beginning. Let men know that's what you want. And just let your value plummet more and more. But hey, at least that way you'll be making money for it, since that's what this chick is complaining about, not being compensated by the men that she provides intimate pleasure for. What a society we live in. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men and women have to say. I'm out.
Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Simps claiming that they pimps, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Suckers claiming to be players, but they not.